For example, take some time to look back at the previous year and ask yourself, what worked well for me? Simple question, what worked well for me? It will bring a lot of things to mind, because all of a sudden you begin to realize that, hey, so last year, in fact, wow, what worked well for me? Now you ask yourself right now, yeah. Ask yourself right now, what worked well for you 2024? You see, it's a difficult question. You haven't noticed that that's autopilot kind of life,
Right.
because you don't even know what worked for you. So you are not aware. You are living unconsciously. Next question. What didn't work and why? These two questions alone will prompt you and begin to draw you into living a purposeful life.
Right.
So as a young person, you don't have to live the life everyone is living. Oh, my friends are going this way, so I'm going. The young people are distracted by what everybody is doing.
Yeah.
They said this is what is trending.
Yeah.
So we are all moving in that direction. So it is about what is trending. It's about what everybody is doing. It's what everybody is talking about. It's not about what is going to help my life. So for you to live a meaningful life, a purposeful life, you must always ask that question: what is working well and what is not working well, and why it is not working well. That will help you to now get a accustomed way of living, a life that fits you, and that will help you to try to find a purpose for your life. See, and when you do that, analyze, identify the habits, decisions, or activities that added value to your life and those that held you back. Why? Because if you don't determine what to keep and what to let go of, you will never be able to fulfill you.
Yeah.
So young people have to understand that their life is designed uniquely to serve a particular purpose. They have to find it. And when you find that purpose, you realize you can't live like everybody, because you are not like everybody. You are you. So that must sink in. Be you. And when you are you, there is a process that you need to submit yourself to. And that process is going to set you apart. That is where people will think you are being a certain way. Accept it. Because the great people we celebrate, they don't live the life everybody lives. So live according to the pattern, the route, the routines that will make you become who you have to become. Grass cutters are made to live in grass. So no matter what you think about grass and they being in grass, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because that is their habitat. That's what makes them be who they are.
Right.
If they change their habitat into different habitat, something is going to happen to them. So they have to know who they are and then determine the habitat to stay in.
Right.
So if you identify your purpose itself will tell you the kind of life you're supposed to live. And when you get to know that, you will not throw yourself about.
Yeah.
You will stay focused.
That is so important. That is so important because, as you did mention, the issue of purpose is a big thing. And with the guidelines that you've given to us, if a young person is able to identify, or let's use the word discover, if they're able to discover their purpose, then that brings the picture home. Now they'll be able to sit down and say, you know what, let me have a vision for my life that will be tied to my purpose. That will help more for them to at least be able to set some goals in place, and then maybe go further along to attach some plans that will help achieve. So when you did mention about the purpose of them knowing who they are, it's very, very important, because once you're able to know yourself, know who you are, you don't have to try to please everybody, because by pleasing everybody, that is when we move out of. Can you imagine like a fish saying, I'm going to try to please a bird. So today I'm no longer going to be in the sea. I'm no longer going to be in the river. I'm going to come up so the bird can be my friend and we are all going to fly together. The fish was not created to be in the sky to fly. That was not its purpose. That was not what the manufacturer or the creator, if you're a believer, you know that is God. That is not what God created for it to do. So I believe that we have to be intentional about discovering our purpose, especially young people. We have to start early. Sometimes a lot of young people feel like, oh, because I'm young, I can just waste away my life, and then maybe somewhere down the line, I'll probably figure it out, right? But I feel like the moment we are young, we need to start discussing these things. We need to start becoming more intentional about these things so that we can live a life that is worth living, a fulfilled life at the end of the day. You know, yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So let's touch on a few things here. Let's bring this whole thing home. Like, what are some of the few solutions we can put across to people to realize that, you know, it will help them not to live in an autopilot life, but to be more intentional about 2025 and beyond.
Yeah. So I have some steps here,
Mhm.
and I just shared one
Right.
of these steps. And so I'm going to just be brief with it.
Okay.
So I'm going to give these steps out.
Okay.
I mean, number one, reflect on the past year, because we are talking about living intentionally in the new year.
Right.
So for you to live purposefully,
Mhm.
fruitfully, and effectively in the new year, you need to reflect on the past year, because
Right.
you move from the old year into the new year. So there were things you did last year, like I said, that didn't go well,
Right.
and there are things you did last year that went well, or that went well. Now the things you did last year that went well, and the things that you did last year that didn't go well, you have to set them aside. Those that are not good,
Right.
and those that are good, you have to focus on. That is number one.
Okay.
Now, number two, set clear goals, because now you know what works and what doesn't work. So now that you know it, set clear goals. One of the biggest obstacles to success is not knowing what you want to achieve.
Mhm.
That is so huge. See, sometimes we are in a new year, we don't really know what we want to achieve in a new year. Now, think about that for a moment. You are in a new year. Okay, let me ask you, what do you want this year? Try and answer that question. You realize that it is true. I haven't set any clear goal for myself.
Right.
I'm not after anything. People are saying, "Oh, this year I'm going to be great." What is your definition of greatness? What kind of greatness are you talking about? Greatness as in what? Define it. Because until you define it, you cannot refine that decision.
Yeah.
So you have to know that.
Can
Now,
I just add to the goals, because
Okay.
you know, the goals is very, very important, because we have a long year ahead of us. So when you set those goals, there are going to be challenging times. The fact that you've set goals doesn't mean that everything is going to be rosary in the course of the year. But because you have that definite goal, that it becomes your target that you are aiming at, storms may come, challenging times may come, but that goal is going to be
Yes,
like a form
yes,
of a
yes.
magnet to pull you through.
yes.
So the goal becomes like a destination for you, like a targeted point. So let's use this analogy, like if you are on the sea, right? You see a ship. The captain of the ship is going to say, we are moving from the States and we are going to, let's say, Spain. And it's probably going to take us maybe a month to get there. He has a place where he's starting. He has a goal or an ending place of getting to Spain, right? So even though on his way towards Spain, there might be some turbulent times where, you know, there's going to be some high waves, you have storms coming through. The captain can be, you know, notified that, hey, captain, you guys have to probably have a detour and probably stop at maybe another country before you continue your journey. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, he can maybe take a detour, but he's still going to have something telling him that you are going to Spain. And that is his goal, is for me to get to Spain. And at the end of the day, all these different challenges, distractions might come. But because he knows that he's going to Spain, it's still going to pull him through that after the storm, let's get back on course.
Exactly.
Let's move towards Spain. So the goal setting is very, 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 very important. And sometimes within the year, you can say, well, let me just set a short-term goal. Let me set a long-term goal. So you can probably even do 3 months, do 6 months, do, you know, maybe up to October, and then you give yourself up to December. So by setting these little goals, which we call baby steps, it's going to help you to attain your whole global goal of the prophecy maybe you had at the beginning of the year on your 31st, or maybe the theme you were given during your 31st. You have to be intentional about being able to achieve that thing.
Yeah.
And that will come by you setting the goal. So sometimes I tell people, you are blaming the pastors that the pastor is saying this year is going to be a blessed year. He's pronounced it. But the rest depends on you. You have to be intentional to set those goals, set those priorities that will push you towards achieving that which the pastor probably proclaimed at 31st night, or something like that. Yes.
Yeah. So that's so powerful. I have about 7 points. Helping people to live, or helping us to live according to purpose, according to plans, and for us to have a fruitful year. So the first one is what I gave: reflect on the past year. We start from there. And then the second one is you setting clear goal for yourself. Okay, so when you set a clear goal, like you've mentioned, determine that this is the goal I've set and I'm going to live according to. Be specific about what you want to accomplish this year, whether in your career, relationships, health, or personal development. You need to be very specific. Now, having done that, you go to the next point. I'm smiling because I had a lengthy discussion with my wife on this as we were trying to prepare ourselves for the new year. And one of the things she was insisting I do, like in everything that I am going to be about this year, is write it down. Write it down. Goals written on paper are more likely to be achieved because they give you a tangible target to work toward.
Right.
This is it, and anytime you see it, it reminds you that this is what you did. That's what break the pattern of autopilot living, because there is something that is constantly reminding you of what you do. You said you would do this, you've seen it, okay, then I have to go, because sometimes you forget because of so many things. The next point is break old patterns. Break old patterns. Here, I say doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results won't lead.